Welcome everyone to our First Friday Toolkit. We are so excited about today's topic. We are going to be talking about the St. Louis County Incentive Program, brand new. And our guests today are going to give you all of the information you need. I know everybody's going to have a lot of questions, so we're going to have a little presentation that might answer some of those, but feel free to submit your questions at any point, and Jill will track those, and we'll leave plenty of time to get all of those questions answered after the presentation. So first, I want to welcome our guests, Riki McManus, who is known to all. Riki has worked in film and television, film and broadcast her entire career. She started in casting with her own company, which is now Blumenthal Casting. She founded the Upper Minnesota Film Office in 1996 and is past president of the board of directors of Minnesota Film and TV. She is the chief production officer at the Upper Midwest Film Office. Her industry background is extensive and her knowledge of St. Louis County is deep. The first film she worked on, like many people in this state, was Purple Rain. And she is one of the main reasons why films like North Country and Iron Will chose to shoot up in the North region. She has been integral in attracting and supporting festivals such as the Duluth Superior Film Festival and the Catalyst Content Festival, and was part of the team that worked on showing the benefits of incentives to county commissioners that resulted in the passage of the state's first county-wide production incentive program, which is what we'll be talking about today. So we are also joined by Shari Marshik, who is the executive director of the Upper Midwest Film Office. She's a native Minnesotan, has lived in Duluth for 25 years, and she has partnered with Riki to create the Upper Midwest Film Office and was part of the team that worked on getting this incentive created and passed. Her background is in marketing, communications, project management, and general figure-it-outness. Which is the perfect description of what we need in this position. Her love of the arts and her passion for creating a place for people to live, work, and thrive in the region are just a few of the reasons why she's excited about the work that she's doing now. So welcome Riki, welcome Shari. I'm going to turn it over to you for your presentation, and we'll see you after with questions.
Great.
Wonderful. Thank you,
Great.
Melody. And thanks for everybody that's on the Zoom call today. It's great to be here. You know, this has been a long time coming, and it's so fun to see this come to fruition. And, you know, I really kind of blame it on Philip Gilpin. I think a lot of it is his fault. And that's because he came and brought Catalyst. He fell in love with our state. He fell in love with our region. And he said, this is a perfect place for the Catalyst Festival, the largest independent television festival in the world. And so he brought so many eyes to our area. And those eyes of those creators and the executives said, we want to bring work here. We want to bring projects here. And that's really what the instigator was of all of this coming up right now. Another thing that Philip did along with Melody is they brought a group of politicians and county commissioners from St. Louis County to LA. They sat down with the Disneys of the world and HBO, and those people said, we would love to shoot in Minnesota, but you need an incentive. And they were talking about the millions of dollars of projects that could easily get there. And so I think it's all about education. and it's educating the Speaker of the House, Melissa Hortman, that was there, who absolutely gets it, David Lilzegard, Representative Lilzegard, and many of the people that were there. They heard the message and they brought it back in their hearts saying, we need to do something. And so because of that, we now have the Upper Midwest Film Office, which we're very thrilled about. And Shari is going to start our little presentation.
All right, can you see me? There we go. Are we on the, we're out, you can see our beautiful St. Louis County. Yeah.
Yes. And that's the IRRB Mine Pits.
Yeah.
You know, we are, as everyone knows here, I'm not going to spend much time on this. Sorry.
Riki's phone.
My dog is off. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because most of the people on the Zoom call know a little bit about our business, but there are some that don't. So I'm just going to go briefly. But we are committed to advancing the Upper Midwest region as a leader in the creative economy by empowering storytelling artists to launch and sustain successful careers, businesses, and communities. So when a production comes in, what we do is we do the incentive administration, but we also do the introductions. Maybe they're looking for production offices or set up banking, whatever. We are think of us as the connectors. We connect them to crews. We assist them in finding those locations. We also help them with their business connections. I think a lot of people think of our industry as something that, oh, the hotels and restaurants certainly make out. But yes, they do. But it's also the mom and pop shops on Main Street, USA. It's places like Instaprints. It's places like the dry cleaners. It's places like that, hardware stores, lumber yards. As we all know, they can do very, very well. We are working on workforce development right now because we want jobs created. I really feel that this is one of the fastest forms of job creation post-COVID that there is. And we're all about that. We also promote our area, our region, our state to actively reach out to bring that business in. And that's kind of what we are in a nutshell.
Yeah, right. Thank you. So we can talk about the incentive that St. Louis County is offering, and I thought it would be best to start with the goal. And in short, this is the goal that the county has written into the program. It's creation of a self-sustaining production industry, economic growth, and workforce development really is the goal of what we're trying to do, or what the county is trying to do with this program. So we're going to talk through the incentive today. If you want to follow along, you can find the guidelines on our site at uppermidwestfilmtv.org/incentives. It's under film here. And we'll go through. We're not going to go through the nitty-gritty details here. I'm trying to give you a sort of an upper a bird's eye view of this. There are details in here that if one is going to apply for the incentive, you definitely would want to look through them. But just to kind of get everybody familiar with them and talk about the big parts, and I'm sure that there will be questions here too. So what is it? So the production incentive program is a 25% rebate to certified applicants to encourage the creation of film, television, and digital media content production in St. Louis County. It's a rebate on qualified expenses. So things that are spent in St. Louis County, 25% cashback rebate. This is for maybe some people that aren't quite sure where St. Louis County is. You can see the state of Minnesota. We're the largest county in the state, and it covers from the Canadian border all the way down just south of Duluth, and quite far west, you'll see. So it is a very large county that has a lot of things to offer, from locations and terrain, as well as all of the things that Riki was talking about, that the infrastructure is here, and we're just now setting in the ball in motion, I think is the word I'm looking for, to keep going on this. I wanted to, I'm gonna hustle through this a little bit, but I want to make sure that it's clear, like what does this rebate process look like, high level? And this is a little something that we created to show people how it actually works. So a production company applies for the certification. They fill out all of the stuff and then they submit it to the administrator, which is UMFO. UMFO goes through and validates it, makes sure that it is all of the things that are on it are actually true and correct to the best of our abilities. And then we look at it in terms of a matrix of how it fits into the total incentive. And then from there, a project would be certified. Then the production company comes into the county, or maybe they're already here, don't know, and they spend money at St. Louis County businesses, they employ St. Louis County residents, and the production company keeps track of all of those expenses. Then they submit the receipts and reporting for money spent in St. Louis County. Again, the administrator goes through that, validates it, confirms it, that they're legitimate expenses, and then confirms that with the county. And then UMFO sends a check for reimbursement. So this runs very, very much in line with how the state runs theirs. It is very, very similar. Is that what you're going to say, Riki?
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, yeah. It's very much modeled after the state. So what is a qualified project? Again, it's not a first come, first serve. It has to be, one has to apply and one has to be certified. We're going to go through all of these guidelines. Again, high level, it's not meant to be super in depth. Make sure that you're looking at the guidelines. If you have a project, you'll really want to dig in. But some of the like higher level things, just to kind of give people flavor, must be a corporation or a limited liability corporation or a partnership. And this is important. Applicants must be certified, not apply. You have to be certified and receive certification notice prior to principal photography start. So if you've already started or will have already started, that project is not eligible. Eligible categories are film, television and episodic content, and commercials. Then, okay, budget requirements. So there's a qualified minimum St. Louis County spend of $10,000, and 100% of the St. Louis County spend from your application must be verified 30 days prior to principal start. So a St. Louis County company is defined as a permanent establishment that's located in St. Louis County and conducts its business in St. Louis County and files Minnesota tax returns. PO boxes are not acceptable. Again, very, very similar to the St. Louis County, how we verify that it is a St. Louis County resident is very, very similar to how the state would for Minnesota. There are some other requirements that were written into the guidelines and the program. The county's very strongly wants to make sure that prevailing wage is paid on construction projects. So there's a section on that, much detail in the guidelines on how to find out what that is, etc. There are insurance requirements that are very common for doing business with a county, including workers' compensation, liability, and vehicle coverage, etc. So you'll want to dig through those details. And then also there is a really cool requirement in this that we're actually very excited about, and that is an internship program. So the internship program details are still being worked out, but the goal is to provide the opportunity for candidates here on the ground in St. Louis County with transferable skills, but they might not have experience. So we want to provide them for a way to get on the ground. And we know that workforce development is one of the pillars of what we do here at the office. And so this is a way that we can ensure development of our workforce, getting crew trained and on board. And so each for one hire, one intern for every 10 employees. That database will be found on our site. You won't find it today. So if you go out to the site today, you won't find it. But we're working really feverishly on this program right now. And so, these are paid positions. So interns are paid, and those wages are reimbursable per the guidelines. So they have to be a St. Louis County resident, which they would be because they're an intern, and etc. Okay. So what are eligible expenses? There's a lot of words on this screen. But I think, again, they're very similar to the state, but if you're not familiar with the state, any expenses that are paid to St. Louis County establishment or person that are below. So lodging and transportation, personnel and crew, per diems, sets, props, wardrobes, all of those things that you think about. Production office rental, your supplies, if you buy them in St. Louis County, studio and soundstage rental, equipment rental, food and catering, location expenses, permit fees, all of those things are included. What's not covered? Alcohol and tobacco. Again, I'm not going to go dig through all of these, but production fees, fuel for personal vehicles. This one's a little bit, people are going to ask about this, so I'm just going to explain it. Online purchases, except for things like Airbnb and Uber, which because they're being offered within the county, they would be, or let's just say somebody buys, makes an order on their phone for Target or Walmart pickup. That would be covered because when you go to pick it up, you get a receipt that has a St. Louis County address on it. The receipt has to show the St. Louis County address or it won't count. Other things that aren't covered are capital equipment purchases, pass-throughs are not allowed, wrap parties, gifts, those kinds of things. We're no fun. We don't allow alcohol or parties. So then what happens? So now I've gotten a certification letter. I got all the insurance I need. I have my interns on board and I know what's covered. And now we start shooting. During production, the things that need to be provided to the administrator which is UMFO, are daily call sheets and production logs are required. And then some marketing things like providing the name and contact information of a person that can be contacted by local media if there is an interest. Allowing the ability to arrange set visits for county officials. This is of course COVID dependent. We understand that. Allowing the ability to arrange for some behind the scenes video footage to be taken for marketing purposes. And then just a reminder that Minnesota State does require COVID preparedness plans be in place. And so that is also very important, which I don't need to tell this group, you guys all know that. So you go through, you have an amazing shoot, you wrap, and then right before you're ready to get reimbursed, you have to provide proof of all of those expenses incurred. So that's a process that is just very detailed. And prior to starting, we will have talked and you'll have already known about the way that this is set up so that you can, during production, set yourself up for success. You'll need to provide a final crew list, including contact information and locations breakdown list. Then there are a variety of marketing items that we already kind of touched on a little bit. And then everything is packaged in an electronic format and sent to the administrator, which is UMFO. No longer is it a box of receipts. That's not going to work here. So it will all have to be provided electronically. And that is all I have to explain here. But I want to open it up for questions now. And then just on your screen really quick, you'll see that incentive inquiries. All this information is on our site as well. Would go to admin@uppermidwestfilmtv.org. And then production inquiries would go to Riki at uppermidwestfilmtv.org. So the admin is all incentive stuff that goes to my desk. Other ones are, there's a bunch of other contact information for other things on our site in case you have questions. And that is my quick presentations. Now let's open it up for questions. I'm super excited to hear them.
I don't know that, Jill, I think the post that you just did in the chat only went to the panelists. You need to select panelists and attendees. And we don't have any.
Excellent.
Excellent. We don't have any questions yet. So I would imagine everybody was waiting to see if your presentation would answer those questions. And so please submit your questions either via the chat function or the Q&A. And we will get those answered. If you would indulge me for just 1 minute, just to head off any questions about the state incentive and the status of that. Let me just give you a brief update on where we are. The current appropriation that was made 2 years ago for the biennium, for the 2-year period that ends June 30th, those funds have all been allocated. So we have no funds available at the state level at the moment. The legislature is currently in session, and any new funds that are appropriated for the state rebate program will be available after July 1 of this year. So the good news on that is that rebate funds were in the governor's recommendations, the governor's budget recommendations for this year. And that is a huge thing. So we are very, very confident that we will get at least the same appropriation, albeit small, that we have gotten in the past couple of budget cycles for the rebate program. But also know that there will be a tax credit incentive bill introduced in the state legislature in a couple of weeks. The revisor's office is backlogged by a couple of weeks. So watch your emails, watch our social media. As soon as that bill gets through the revisor's office, we'll let everyone know what the number is and what action folks can take to help. So Jill, now, do we have questions?
Yes, now there are 2 questions.
Okay.
I'm going to combine them actually because they are related. One is the $1 million an annual fund, or does this cover a longer term? And also, have you received any applications yet? And when do you expect the first productions using this incentive to take place?
I'll take the first part. You can take the last part, Riki.
Okay.
Okay, so no applications are not open yet. It's just taken this long to get the details out. When applications are open, we will place them. We'll get them on our site, and we'll push that out through social media. So definitely please follow us on social media. That will help. But everything will always be on the site, and that's our single source of truth, is the site. So that is that. And Riki, when do you expect the first productions?
That's a good question. Right now, we were looking at March for one of the first ones, but I believe that's going to be pushed back. Everyone is still pretty nervous about COVID, and I certainly understand that, as well as everybody should be. However, that one will probably go to fall. We do have one that's looking at April, and it was written with the mindset that we could still be in COVID land. And so they really wrote it in a different way. So there's not as many people. So April could be our first one. That's what we're looking at right now. But I'd say we've got over very close to 40 projects right now that
Yeah.
are looking at our area. So, and that doesn't even include some of the series that are looking at us, but we will not get those series until we get that tax credit through the state. That's going to be so, so important. And I think we're getting closer and closer.
Yeah, we didn't, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say there was the first part of the question was about the $1 million appropriation. What is the time period? Is that an annual amount?
It's an annual, at this point, it's annual. The way that it was written was that they were appropriating it in 500,000. We'll see how it goes, and then another 500 for a total of 1 million in 2021. So we all know that $1 million is a lot for us, and it's a lot for little county to put up. And we're very grateful for that. It also goes very, very quickly in this industry. And so it's very, very, very small. So, and that's the dichotomy, right? So yes, it is for 2021. There's no guarantee that it will come in 2022, but we do believe that it will, because we know that this, we're setting ourselves up for success. We're thinking about this for the long term. Our goal is this to be a long-term program. We believe that their goal is the same, to be a long-term program. So we have every reason to believe that it will be. Yeah, so it's exciting. It's $1 million, and so that's super exciting.
Yeah, and hopefully coupled with a state rebate, or better yet, a tax credit.
Yeah.
When you add as an add-on, that certainly is something that other states do. States that have really strong and stable in state incentive programs, like Georgia. Then Savannah has its own program,
right?
And so that attracts a lot of people who who would be looking at the state of Minnesota, but might be looking at southern Minnesota, and instead come up to St. Louis County because of your incentive program.
Right.
And another thing too, I might add, is we're talking to some of the other surrounding communities in counties. So we may have more than St. Louis County too, which we're hoping for. But, it all takes education. And between Philip and Shari and I think in the last couple of years, we've had well over 300 meetings, because you just have to educate them. I know so many of the people on the call have heard, oh, money for Hollywood? Yeah, right. Well, once you can convince them and show them that it's really blue collar workers is what a lot of us are. And it's below the line. It's carpenters, it's painters, it's electricians, and it's people that need the work right now. So, I think it's a good message for everybody to get out to their representatives that this is putting Minnesota to work. And the nice thing is, it's really a self-sustaining production industry if we can do it right. And we also want to be a self-sustaining production agency, both the Minnesota Film Board and Upper Midwest Film Office.
Right.
Jill?
Yes.
Okay, I've got a whole string of questions here.
Okay.
The first one is, can interns be full-time students at UMD? And do you have a list of interns, which I know you said not yet, but can they be full-time students at UMD?
The only problem with that, if they're a full-time student, is do they have time to work on the set? So, you can't be full-time intern on set and a full-time student unless you've got flexibility on time.
And how does one become one of the interns? How do you sign up?
Good question. So we're working on this in two fronts. And this sort of speaks to one of the workforce development pillar that we spoke about a little bit earlier. And we have had some amazing partners that have come to us and said, we want to help, we want to be part of this, and we want to donate our time or we want to participate in some way. Industry professionals that are setting up workshops that are intended to be entry-level positions, are intended to give information on entry-level positions. So basic information about how to be, for an example, a PA, or how to be grip genie. How do I walk on with a basic level of safety, general knowledge, and a ton of hustle in order to get into the set. So if somebody goes through our workshop, they will then automatically be set up to go into the intern database. In addition, we have been working with UMD, St. Scholastica. We are reaching back out to a couple of other local, actually all of the local colleges. We've had a number of meetings in trying to figure out how their programs can also feed into this. Everybody's super supportive of that. So it just is a matter of that coordination, which sorry, it's not up yet, but we are working feverishly on it, and we will post about it, and we will put it on our site as soon as that program is set up.
One
our
last
workshops
question
start in February.
Okay. One last question on the internship. Does an intern have to be a student?
No,
Oh,
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Good question. Thank you for pointing that out. This can be somebody with very transferable skills. Somebody that is maybe they are unemployed because they're in the tourism industry here in the Northland, and they could absolutely step into these jobs with just a little bit of education and a ton of hustle, and you can step on.
Thank you.
Okay, here's a political one for Riki. Did you speak with Senator Tom Bach about this incentive? And if so, what were his feelings and thoughts on it?
Oh, that is a good question. And actually, I'm going to just hand that one over to Melody, because Melody is the one that talked most
Of course.
with Mr. Bach.
I have spoken to Senator Bach in the past about both the rebate program and the tax credit issue. When we had the tax credit bill in the House the last time in 2019, we did have a hearing, and Senator Bach is on the tax committee. So he is certainly aware of it. And then last year, before the election last year, I did have a long conversation one-on-one with the senator when I up on the North Shore. And I felt like it was a really great conversation. So yes, we have talked to him. We will be talking to him again very soon because he is on the tax committee.
Okay. What types of film projects and budget range do you think are going to be enticed by this program?
That's a good question. I really think in the ones that have come forward so far saying we're interested in shooting there, it's anywhere from, that $10,000 mark to, I think our top one right now is 5 million. So it's a little bit of everything, which is great, I think. I like that mix.
Okay, let's go back to politics, Riki. Was there any resistance from conservative county leaders with the use of prevailing wage language? And if so, what was your argument in support of it?
That's a great question. I want to know the answer to that.
That is a great question. And Shari, I know both of us have worked on this one, so please pipe in.
We have not had any pushback on prevailing wage
Mm.
that I know of.
Wow.
And from this county conversation, I did not hear from any of those leaders that they had a concern about that. I have not heard that.
And I haven't either, so we bash on regardless.
That's great.
Sorry, I took a nap on questions here. Is there a priority? Is there a priority for productions written and directed by Minnesota residents?
There's no priority, but it is something that we consider. It's not written into the guidelines that they would be priority. I think it's important to understand that this will be a matrix of projects, and really the end, I bring it back to that goal that we talked about. The end goal is a self-sustaining production industry. And so we need to do that by doing a couple of things. One, making sure that the spend, the quality of St. Louis County spend, quality of St. Louis County hires, the number of days produced, et cetera, in St. Louis County are quality, so that we can do, one, get the shot into the economy, because dollars really do speak, and two, allow for some of these smaller productions that can then employ more St. Louis County people to get going. So I think it's, did I answer that question? All right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, whether or not there's priority given to Minnesota residents or not.
Right. Yeah. So it's just, it'll be a matrix. Minnesota in particular isn't written into the guidelines, but we absolutely understand that. We understand who they are. I just got a text from somebody that must be on here, and it reminded me back to that political question. Actually, it was a conservative commissioner that insisted on the prevailing wage be written in there. So.
Wow. That's great. Other questions? What?
We were that good, huh?
Oh, you covered everything.
I covered it all.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about what's going on up there in terms of industry, or, you know, is there anything actually shooting up there now that you're aware of up in your area?
There isn't anything shooting right now that has gone through this office. We have a group of filmmakers up there that they're always shooting something. They have such a love of going out and being those creative storytellers. So there's always something shooting. But as far as going through this office, not yet. We did meet with a group of filmmakers that do have this project for April, and we're trying to put things together for them right now.
Great.
I have a couple of shameless plugs to put up there. So one, please do sign up for our email so that we can then contact people. I would think you would want the exact same thing at the state level. We absolutely collaborate all the time, but we have separate systems. So if you could please sign up for those emails. And then the other thing is, if you are a creator, if you are working in the industry, and if you are in the Northland, please make sure that you are part of our online directory. This was originally created for the Catalyst Content Festival 2 years ago. Make sure that you are in there. It's free, and it's the way for people to connect with you. So it is one of the first places that outside producers would go in, and local producers go to help find. So it's one of the best ways for you to be connected with the community. So that's one thing. And then just so everybody knows, because I know that there have been questions about who has applied so far. nobody's applied yet. So just to be clear, all of the people that we're referring to are people that are really interested in working here, that are really interested in finding locations. So if you have interest, we want you to apply. There's no fee to apply, but it is quite an extensive process. So that, yeah, and then
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish
the
it.
last plug I have is to please keep your eye out for the state program, because it will be imperative for the success of all of these programs that the state program goes through. And we are marching to however Melody leads that, and we really want to make sure that everybody's keeping their eye on that goal, because that will then make all of us successful in creating this self-sustaining production industry here. Yeah.
Thank you, Shari. And I want to echo your encouragement about the production directory, both if you are located up north, but for those of you in the metro, if you don't have a listing in Minnesota Film and TV's production directory, please do that. Again, that is free. There is a free option there. And as Shari said, that is what outside producers will look at, because one of the concerns that folks have is, do you have crew in Minnesota? So
yep.
They'll look at the production directory just to see what level of crew we have and what kind of experience they have. So please get a listing. And now back to Jill, because I see we've got other questions.
Now we have questions coming in. Are you working with the Northern Film Alliance?
Yes, we certainly are. As a matter of fact, I'm on that board. So yes, I think the Northern Film Alliance is a great addition to our state.
Great. Will there be a requirement to check for residence status for local hires? For instance, a driver's license or something like that?
Yes. Yes. And the production will be required to keep that information and provide it. Yes.
Okay, so similar to the state program.
Yes.
What resources are available in the region in terms of equipment rental and stages and things like that we're not typically thinking about?
Go ahead.
That's a good question. We do have someone that is opening up an equipment rental house, and that's going to be in Virginia, and possibly he'll have a branch in Duluth. We also have, let's see, it was equipment rental. What was the other part of the question?
Stages. I suppose anything infrastructure related.
Sure. For sound stages, we do have Lake Effect in Chisholm. And I know some people that are very interested in shooting in that area. And a lot of it is because there's already a soundstage there. And we are actively looking for other possibilities too.
Mm-hmm. Did you have another question, Jill?
That's all I have right now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. Well, I think unless there are other shameless plugs or questions, we can probably wrap this up, because I'm sure everybody is, itching to get outside this afternoon.
Oh my gosh.
So I want to thank our guests today for being here and sharing this information, and especially for all of your work in getting this done. This is so exciting for the entire state, not just St. Louis County. So we are so proud of you. We are so grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jill, for managing the questions. And thank you to everyone who joined us. Please take a look at the Upper Midwest Film Office website and check out their guidelines and sign up for their newsletter. So wait, is there one more? Okay.
We'll just say, I just want to say thank you to this team right here, because you guys were integral in us doing this. We leaned on you hard and you just gave all of it. And we just really, really, really appreciate you and your leadership. And we're thrilled to be part of this team. And we thank all of you for your time.
We're here to serve.
We couldn't have done
All
it
the
without
time.
you.
Yeah.
Anytime.
No,
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
thank you.
Bye-bye.